Commander Elias Vorn surveyed the barren plains through the dust-streaked windshield of the Humvee, the rising sun casting elongated shadows over the ruins of a long-forgotten civilization. His squad had been stationed in this desolate region for weeks, an assignment that felt more like exile than duty, and yet he moved with practiced precision, the weight of his rifle a familiar reassurance against the unknown. His helmet's HUD flickered faintly with thermal readings, scanning for movement, scanning for threats, scanning for anything beyond the unbroken silence. The alien broadcasts had been relentless, mocking, taunting, an unseen intelligence deriding humanity for its fragile sentimentality, its obsession with creatures of charm and domesticity. "You hoard kittens while the cosmos laughs," the voice had sneered, distorted yet unmistakable. Elias's jaw tightened. He did not care for alien opinions, but he cared deeply for what they represented, the humans who had once roamed free, innocent in their love for life. For every creature they had cherished, there was a human who had believed in hope, in gentleness, even amidst war and scarcity. And yet, here he was, armed and armored, patrolling lands that no longer whispered stories of ordinary life. Beside him, Corporal Nadia Korr adjusted her tactical vest, scanning the horizon with her sharp amber eyes. "Another empty sector," she muttered, her voice a quiet echo of resignation. She had joined Elias's unit 2 years prior, a survivor of skirmishes whose stoicism masked an undercurrent of empathy. She had a way of noticing the smallest anomalies, the tiniest details that hinted at life or danger, and Elias trusted her instincts above any electronic readout. "Maybe the aliens are bored today," Elias said, though his tone lacked humor. The silence returned like a physical presence, pressing against the walls of the vehicle and seeping into his mind. Their convoy moved slowly, tires crunching over the brittle, sun-baked grass. In the distance, a helicopter hummed faintly, a sentinel that seemed to hover between caution and curiosity. Elias's mind wandered to the files they had uncovered in a ruined archive last week. Records of an experiment gone awry, whispers of a creature bred not for beauty, but for survival. A creature that defied the assumptions the aliens mocked so openly. Elias's hand rested instinctively on the sidearm, holstered against his thigh. He thought of the reports again. A small, resilient animal with ferocious intelligence, capable of independent strategy, a natural predator with no regard for fear. He imagined it standing beside him, a symbol of defiance against the alien taunts, a living argument that humans could cherish strength as well as tenderness. The Humvee rounded a ridge, revealing a valley shadowed by the crumbling arches of a forgotten city. Dust swirled in eddies across the ground, and the wind carried the faint metallic scent of something not quite natural. Nadia tapped her radio, sensors picking up something moving near the lower ruins. Thermal signature is odd, not human. Elias's pulse quickened, a mixture of anticipation and caution. He scanned the area, rifle raised, instincts ignited by the thrill of imminent discovery. For a moment, there was only silence, heavy and expectant. Then a shape emerged. A low, sturdy figure moving with deliberate grace, eyes gleaming with intelligence and an almost imperceptible mischief. Elias felt a chill of recognition, though he could not yet place why the creature felt so familiar. His mind raced, heart hammering against the cage of his armor. Whatever it was, it carried an aura of quiet, undeniable authority, and in that moment, Elias understood that their mission had shifted. They were no longer searching merely for threats or survivors. They were standing on the precipice of something that could redefine the way humanity faced its cosmic adversaries. Nadia glanced at him, her expression caught between awe and disbelief. Elias tightened his grip on his rifle, muscles coiling with anticipation. "Looks like we're about to meet history," he murmured, the words almost lost to the wind. And in the valley below, the creature paused, lifting its head, eyes locking onto theirs as if it understood the stakes of the moment. The encounter promised danger, but also opportunity, the first step toward proving that humanity's creations its animals, could be more than cute. They could be lethal. The creature stepped forward, low to the ground, muscles rippling beneath coarse, silvery fur. Elias's breath hitched as he noted the deliberate precision in its movements. Each step measured, purposeful, as though it assessed the world with a mind far older than its body suggested. Nadia crouched slightly, her hand brushing the grip of her sidearm, but she did not raise it. "It's watching us," she whispered, almost to herself. "It's not afraid, and it's not attacking." Yet, Elias nodded, a mixture of fascination and caution weighing on him. There was intelligence here, yes, but there was also something primal, a silent assertion of dominance that neither weapon nor tactic could easily challenge. Elias lowered his rifle slowly, maintaining eye contact. "We don't want to hurt you," he said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline thrumming in his veins. The creature's gaze remained unbroken, piercing, as though it could read more than intent. It could read character. Elias wondered if this was what the aliens had underestimated. The bond between human and animal that transcended fear, that could turn loyalty and instinct into a tactical advantage. Nadia crouched beside him. "It's evaluating us," she murmured. "And it's smart. Smarter than any predator we've ever tracked." She adjusted the comms pack on her vest, fingers brushing the dials with careful precision. Maybe it knows what's coming. Maybe it's expecting the aliens, too. Elias considered that possibility, his mind racing through the scenarios their commanders had drilled into them for months. Ambush, skirmish, containment breach. And yet here, on this desolate plain, with the ruins stretching like ghostly fingers into the sky, none of the drills mattered. Only presence, only instinct, only trust, or its absence, would dictate survival. A low growl rumbled from the creature's throat, soft but deliberate, and Elias realized it was no ordinary warning. It was communication, a signal of recognition, a challenge, and perhaps even an invitation. He raised a hand slowly, palm outward, a gesture instinctively human, instinctively peaceful. The creature froze, nostrils flaring, and then, astonishingly, it mirrored the movement in a tentative mimicry. Nadia's eyes widened. It's acknowledging you," she said, off-threading her voice. Elias allowed a small, almost imperceptible smile, but he did not lower his guard. Recognition did not equal alliance. Elias crouched slightly, speaking softly. I think it's choosing us. Not because it trusts humans, necessarily, but because it sees purpose, because it knows we're facing something bigger than ourselves. The creature tilted its head, ears twitching, and then, with a sudden burst of speed, it ran a short circle around them, stopping abruptly as if testing boundaries, testing reactions. Elias's pulse quickened. Every fiber of his body was attuned to the rhythm of the encounter. He realized the animal was not just alive, it was calculating, strategizing, readying itself for what would come. Nadia reached for her communicator. "Command, we've located an anomalous life form. Appears highly intelligent, highly aggressive, but potentially cooperative. Advise protocol." Static buzzed in response, but Elias ignored it. Right now, there was no higher authority that mattered. Right now, they had a choice. Retreat and risk losing the creature to the unknown, or engage and forge a partnership that might tilt the scales in humanity's favor. The valley seemed to hold its breath as the sun climbed higher, casting light across the alien-like arches of the ruins. Elias knelt fully, extending a hand, and the creature approached cautiously, sniffing, probing, sizing him up. Its eyes glimmered with a cunning that was almost human, and in that moment, Elias felt an unspoken understanding solidify between them. The alien broadcasts, the ridicule of the cosmos, they were irrelevant here. This encounter mattered. Nadia exhaled, tension leaving her shoulders in a subtle sweep. "Looks like history is about to be rewritten," she said softly. Elias's gaze never left the creature, whose small, deliberate nod seemed to seal a pact, a recognition of mutual purpose. Danger was imminent, yes, But now they faced it with an ally whose ferocity rivaled any human warrior. And for the first time in months, Elias allowed himself to believe that humans and their creations might not be as defenseless as the universe assumed. The horizon shimmered with a distortion that signaled the alien's approach, a ripple in the air that set Elias's teeth on edge. The creature crouched low beside him, ears twitching, its fur bristling subtly in anticipation. Elias adjusted the straps of his tactical vest, scanning the sky through the cracks in the ruined arches. The alien ships were unlike anything humanity had recorded, sleek, reflective, with movements that defied gravity's constraints. Each one exuded an almost predatory awareness, as though they could sense fear and weakness as easily as they tracked coordinates. Nadia's voice cut through the tension. "They're here. Sensors picking up multiple thermal signatures, all heading straight for us." She gripped her rifle, knuckles whitening, yet there was no panic in her posture. She had learned to move with purpose under pressure, to calibrate instinct and analysis into a single coherent response. Elias felt a surge of respect and relief. They would face this together, and they would be ready. The creature growled softly, a low, steady vibration that seemed to communicate not just awareness but strategy. Elias crouched beside it, matching its posture, feeling an unexpected reassurance in its proximity. Somehow, in its wild, unpredictable way, it seemed to understand the battlefield better than any map or sensor. It was small, deceptively compact, but every motion radiated lethal intent. Elias found himself marveling at the irony. The very beings the aliens had mocked for their attachment to cute animals now had a weapon of unimaginable ferocity at their side. The first ripple of light appeared on the horizon, sharp and electric, heralding the arrival of the alien scouts. They descended silently, hovering just above the ground, scanning the valley with beams of pure energy. Elias raised his rifle, finger on the trigger, but hesitated. He glanced at the creature, whose eyes gleamed with calculation. It moved first, lunging forward with astonishing speed, teeth bared, claws extended, striking one of the scouts with precise, devastating force. Sparks and fragments erupted, the alien vessel destabilizing instantly. Elias barely had time to react before the creature leaped back, circling, ready to strike again. Nadia opened fire on the remaining scouts, her movements fluid, precise, each shot deliberate, designed to incapacitate rather than destroy completely. The creature mirrored her approach, its attacks synchronized with hers in a seamless dance of human and animal coordination. Elias realized with a jolt that they were improvising a strategy on the spot, a tacit understanding born not from command protocols, but from instinct and trust. Together, they were formidable, the predator's ferocity amplified by human precision, human calculation. The aliens reacted with calculated retaliation, beams of energy slicing through the air with searing intensity. Dust and debris exploded around them, yet the creature darted through the chaos, always a step ahead, leading Elias and Nadia into advantageous positions. Elias fired, ducked, rolled, and recalibrated constantly, but it was the animal that dictated the flow of the engagement. Its intelligence was uncanny, a tactical partner rather than a mere companion. As the skirmish intensified, Elias felt a rare clarity settle over him. The ridicule of the alien broadcasts, the mockery of humanity's perceived weaknesses, they had underestimated the bonds forged in empathy, the resilience bred in shared purpose. This creature, small yet ferocious, embodied humanity's answer, courage unbound by size or convention. When the dust finally began to settle, several alien scouts lay incapacitated, their ships sputtering and smoking. Elias knelt, breathing heavily, and placed a hand on the creature's back. Its fur bristled under his fingers, but there was a shared understanding in the contact, a recognition of victory and survival. Nadia approached, her expression a mixture of awe and grim satisfaction. History might be watching us, Elias, she said quietly, but it's also learning what humans can do when they refuse to be underestimated. Elias nodded, eyes still locked on the creature, whose gaze reflected not only intelligence but a fierce, untamed loyalty. The battle was over for now, but the war of proving humanity's worth in a cosmos that scoffed at them, had only begun. The valley was quiet now, but the air thrummed with residual energy, the lingering hum of alien technology fading into the wind. Elias wiped sweat from his brow, rifle slung loosely across his shoulder, and scanned the horizon. The ruins, once a testament to forgotten civilizations, now bore witness to a new kind of legend. The unlikely alliance of human and creature, forged in fire and instinct. The honey badger, unassuming yet undeniably formidable, padded beside him, its gaze sharp and unyielding, ears flicking at every distant sound. Elias marveled at the audacity of their partnership. In a world where aliens mocked human weakness, they had found strength in the very qualities their enemies had derided. Nadia crouched beside a fractured wall, checking her equipment methodically. "They won't be back immediately," she said, voice low but confident. "But when they do, we'll be ready." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him. It was no longer enough to survive. They had to demonstrate that humans and the creatures they cherished could be forces of strategy, courage, and defiance. He glanced at the honey badger, who had already begun inspecting the perimeter with keen attention, its movements deliberate and calculating. Elias realized that this creature, small yet potent, embodied humanity's resilience and adaptability in a way words could never capture. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the valley, Elias reflected on the path that had brought them here. Weeks of reconnaissance, months of preparation, countless hours of training, all had led to this moment. The alien broadcasts had been relentless, their ridicule echoing across frequencies, belittling humanity's affinity for life's softer aspects. Yet those very attachments had produced an unexpected weapon, a creature unbound by conventional notions of utility, yet capable of decisive, calculated ferocity. Elias felt a quiet pride swell within him. Humans had underestimated the power of care, of instinct, of courage born from connection. A subtle movement caught his attention. The honey badger had paused, head tilted, ears alert. Elias followed its gaze to a distant ridge, where faint shapes shimmered under the setting sun. Scouts? Observers? He could not be certain. Yet there was no fear in the creature's stance, only readiness. Elias adjusted his rifle, preparing for whatever came next, but he knew, instinctively, that they were no longer merely reacting. They were asserting themselves. Humans, paired with the unexpected brilliance of an animal they had once considered cute, could challenge the cosmos in ways the aliens had never predicted. Nadia approached, her expression a mix of admiration and resolve. "Elias, I think they're starting to understand," she murmured. "Not just about our strength, but about our unpredictability, our willingness to adapt." Elias allowed himself a small, confident smile. The honey badger stepped closer, brushing against his leg with deliberate familiarity, a silent acknowledgement of shared purpose. He reached down, resting a hand on its thick fur, feeling the rhythmic heartbeat beneath its chest. It was more than an animal. It was a comrade, a partner in a war that demanded courage, cunning, and unwavering loyalty. The wind swept across the valley, carrying with it the scent of scorched earth and possibility. Elias breathed deeply, savoring the clarity that followed the storm of combat. The aliens might return, but humanity now had a tangible testament to its resilience, its capacity for ingenuity and defiance. And at the heart of it all was a creature small in size, but monumental in impact, a symbol of unexpected power and unshakable loyalty. As twilight deepened, Elias lowered his rifle and surveyed the ruins, the creature at his side, and Nadia, standing alert yet composed. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to envision the future, Not just survival, but a chance to rewrite the rules of engagement, to prove that ridicule and underestimation were liabilities in a universe that demanded respect for cunning, courage, and connection. The alien taunts had driven them to this moment. But it was their resolve, their unity, and the unlikely brilliance of a honey badger that would define what came next. And in the quiet aftermath, with shadows stretching like bridges across the valley, Elias felt a profound certainty. Humanity's story was far from over, and with allies like this, it might finally be one the cosmos would remember.